All right. So, if you could break one rule without any consequences, what rule would you break?
Wow.
Break one rule without any consequences. Yeah, overeating
Oh,
and
yeah.
don't get sick, nothing. Just enjoy all that food, that chocolate, the sugar. Just enjoy all day long.
French fries.
Nothing happens.
Good.
I think I would just tell people how I feel. You know what I mean? I'm real cautious of telling people the truth because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But it's not really served me really well, you know. So I would be really open and honest with people as best I could, and really still try not to hurt them, which is actually something I'm working on. But boy, easier said than done, especially when we grow up with these. You know it's taboo. You know you're not supposed to do it. You're supposed to go, oh, everything's fine, you know, and you're like going, we're gonna die, you know, or whatever, you know. Anyway.
Good one. I think I wrote to you about Martha Beck, who spent a year every day not lying,
Oh,
not
one day
lying,
per year?
every day for a whole year, not lying
Ooh.
at all. And she managed to start to create sentences, to responses, to say no in really interesting ways. Martha Beck.
Martha Beck. I like that.
And she wrote the book on what's the word? Integrity, the way of integrity. Because whenever we lie, something in us gets in conflict. There's tension. And it can lead to disease. It can lead to all kinds of things that you don't want. And yet it's been instilled in us to not lie. And yet we lie all the time.
You know, and the thing is, it's been instilled, both have been instilled. They might not tell you, we don't want you to tell us the truth. You
Yeah.
know, poop
Yeah.
is going to fly if you tell the truth, but oh, we value truth. You know, it's like, you know, anyway, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's a constant in our lives, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do this, but don't do that. But don't do this, but don't. You know, it's so constant.
Yeah.
I
Dissonance.
thought
Yeah.
about it from the trickster standpoint
Good.
more than whatever was the other possibility. Forgive me. I just came out of another class and I'm pulling all my molecules here. But I thought about this last night, and I thought I would like to have this superpower where any I would suddenly become part of gatherings of world leaders, and any world
Yeah.
leader who gazed in my eyes and shook my hand would become overcome with orgasmic ecstasy and want to do the best possible thing that they could do for all the people in their country.
Oh,
It's a
that.
beginning. I'm gonna play with that. And of course, then in my fantasy, I would be increasing. These people would be increasingly available to me. It was a big one until I had covered the whole world, and all of the world leaders were. And every time they thought about their encounter with me, they would just want to go and do good things for their people and do the right things and the most things that would conserve the people and make sure everyone was taken care of, because they would remember this just orgasmic ecstasy that they experienced in my presence.
Oxytocin, dude. Yeah.
I love it, Rhea. More power
Thank you.
to you.
I knew you would.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
With Rhea's story, I want to know how it ends.
How it ends?
Yeah.
We just got the concept, so we're gonna write.
world peas.
Good.
It's world peas. It's world peas. It's world peas. It's utopia. It's a flourishing planet. And there even is a place, because I am, a realist on that level, there's a place or even like a whole country where people who they don't ever want to give up on their warring ways, and they go there because they know that they can go there and they can slaughter each other, they can have wars, they can fight, they can throw blood, all that stuff that those people do. There's still a place for them. I'm not trying to deny them their destiny.
Give them an island.
Aren't you good?
Put them all on an island and let them, it's like, you're free. Here's your island.
We
Go
have
for it.
balance for everyone.
Wow.
Sorry, Rhea. I'm just jumping in because I got really excited. I'm really sorry.
Oh no, I'm done. Thank you. If I stepped over you, please forgive me.
Oh,
but
not
I
even.
had to-
It
I
was
had to
it
share
was yours, and I just got excited. So I'm really, if I kind of,
Well, I think between Margaret and Rhea, all problems are solved.
And
And we'll send you some bonbons.
Just thank you, darling. I miss your bonbon.
Chris, do you have anything?
Well, we must have had the same list, some of us.
I shouldn't laugh.
Is there a difference between withholding the truth and telling the truth? Like to actually say no to somebody and let them know you don't agree is being honest. And that's about as far as I got. Well, Jennifer said the thing about not hurting people's feelings, like not saying something that was going to embarrass you yourself. That's a big thing. Or cause an argument, which is a big, that's a big rule for me. I'm not really, am I really trying to protect the other person? No, I don't want to be embarrassed, and I don't want to get into a argument with someone that's intellectually or in any other way going to run me over, including friends, and to take that risk. So it's kind of like telling the truth, but when you say tell the truth, it sounds loftier. But to not stuff things, to actually not wait 20 years to tell someone something. And I'm not joking, maybe 60 years. So it's kind of like telling the truth, but it's a variation. But to break your own rule for yourself I think I would probably have to write it on my hand and hold my hands up and look at them every day to do that. So that's a big rule.
We're going to work with that rule.
Oh,
today.
I know we are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I don't know if you've heard of Bronnie Ware. She's an hospice nurse. And she wrote a book about the 5 main regrets of dying people. And the number 1 regret is that they lived according to someone else's rules, someone else's expectations, and not their own, that they never had the courage to be themselves. That's the number 1 regret of dying people. And so that's a really important rule. And most of the time, we don't even know where those rules come from, where they originate. And so that's what today is all about, going into through art and writing, bad art and junk writing. We'll play with uncovering the original rules and injunctions and prohibitions and secrets that we were taught to obey. So, anybody else want to add? What, honey? Yeah. Yeah, Jennifer.
Okay. Christine, when you were talking, I think it was just really resonating with a lot of us, but I had just a couple of observations. I think it matters who you're talking to because some people really honestly, you think it's you, but they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. They just want to go on and do what they're going to do. And you wouldn't hurt them. They're just like that. You know what I mean? They're just as, I'll just say they have like a steamroller mode. And the other observation is like, I have this theme I love. It's like someone who's called to be king or queen. You know what I mean? But they're too kind to do it. They don't have a heart for it because they just think there's just so much injustice. It's so effed up. I probably would be a bad king or queen. Well, I just think we're all kings and queens actually, and that
Hmm.
Oh yeah, and the thing that just squeezes your heart so hard is like, oh my God, you would be the perfect king and queen. We need to see you. We need to hear you because you're kind and you're fair. You know what I mean? But you let these assholes do what they do because you won't speak up. And so like I think it matters who you speak up to, but I think you have to speak your truth. You got to show up. My God, we got to show up, you guys, because well, anyway, I'm gonna stop there. I don't want
Especially
to hijack
now.
anything, but I just felt that so strongly. You know what I mean? It's like we are supposed to show up,
Thank you.
and
Thank
speak
you,
our truth.
Jennifer.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So you ready to dig in? Okay, papers. You need paper and a pen. And let's see.
This is what I'll do. What should I do?
Okay, let's start. No, yeah, let's start with the rules. Okay, so you start with the paper, and you're just going to draw a line. I don't know if you can see it, probably not. You draw a line any which way, any line whatsoever. And just
paper. Do you need help?
what?
What?
Oh, Shivani.
What do you want from me?
So you're drawing a line, and then when a certain rule comes up in your mind, you write it out. Without lifting up the pen, you just write out, keep for me, keep things to yourself. And then you start up the line again, and you just go in any which way across. But just become aware of what rules you are obeying, what rules have been inculcated inside you, what rules have you been trained into so deeply that they've even become unconscious. There are times when you do things, you go like, I don't know where that came from. Does that make sense? So draw a line and then continue writing the rule that comes up in your mind. It can be any rule. It can be a small rule. It can be a deep-seated rule, a big prohibition. In fact, I would encourage you to go for the big prohibitions.
Elsa?
Yeah.
The, Shivani, I'm back with the paper and can you show me an example of what it looks like? Does the line, you start with the line across the page and when you,
Yeah, it just
To
any which
remove-
way, any which way. Can you see
where
that?
does the line, okay, oh, okay, I got it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. You may have to turn the paper upside down.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have enough? Do we have enough rules written down?
Almost.
Okay. Hey. Now, when you're ready, check out the rules and where do they come from? Who is the one who's given you most of the rules or the hardest rules?
You want us to note that for each one, or I'm not getting the
If
assignment
you
here.
look at all the rules,
Yes.
who gave them to you?
Mom.
Society.
And she's been gone a long time.
And ask yourself, are you still keeping to those rules?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Is it a conscious thing? Or do you do it automatically?
Automatic.
Automatically.
What happens in your body when you obey the rule or when you think of the rule or when you break the rule?
Conflict.
Conflict. Any shame?
Yeah.
I think when I try to break the rules, I get terrified and then I have to decide something.
Oh, that's so beautiful, Jennifer. When we get terrified, we're onto something.
I think so. It's pretty strong
Mhm.
though. It's like I'm going, you can't do that. It's like, anyway.
Mm. Okay. So take a next page and draw yourself in the center of the page. It can be a stick figure, it can be a circle, it can be just anything. Just draw yourself. It's like just make a space for yourself on the piece of paper. So that's here. It's me, ELSHA. Now, who in your life has impacted you most? Your father, your mother, uncle, and whatever. And draw that person close to you. So I made a circle for myself and I put my name in there. And I'm particularly impacted by my mother. And so I'm drawing a circle that actually overlaps with mine. And I put her name in there. Her name is Antoinette. Then who is the next that has most impact on you? And continue with anybody else that you know of that has impacted you, who has shaped you with certain rules. So this becomes kind of like a portrait of you energetically. And it doesn't have to be a person. It can also be an event or a situation. Okay? You need more time?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, also write on there whether they're dead or not. Whether they're still
Dead or
alive.
not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God, they're all dead.
One of my influences is society. I think it's dead.
So when you're ready, am I hurrying you, Chris?
No.
A little, that's okay.
Okay. When you're ready, look up and look at everybody. Okay. So you're seeing Margot and Jennifer and Chris and Mark and Shivani and Rhea and me. We're all in little boxes, right? The Zoom boxes. What you don't see is are all the ancestors behind us. They are crowding your room. There are thousands, you have thousands of ancestors that have impacted you. Unbeknownst to you, they have placed their strategies for survival into your DNA. So your DNA is shaped by the fears, the desires that never were fulfilled, the secrets, the triumphs of your ancestors are all stored in your DNA. And they're driving you unconsciously. They're driving you. Add to that the events that you have survived, the events, the situations that have impacted you big time. Those events that have gotten a reaction from you, especially a traumatic event, that too is stored in your DNA. So your DNA is really what drives you to do all kinds of even everyday things. You are being driven by your ancestors' fears and desires and successes and failures. And they're all there in the room with you. They're all behind you. Okay, now, if you give them a voice, write down the things that they want to tell you. Write down on another piece of paper, write down why they're here right now and what they have to share with you. Remember that they also love you, that you are their dream come true. And you are being loved by thousands of your ancestors.
Say again what we're supposed to write down.
Write down what they want to say to you right now.
Oh,
Whatever comes up. There are so many of them, you cannot possibly write all of it down. to complicate it even more, you're not only in the presence of your ancestors, you're also in the presence of your descendants. Whether or not you have children or grandchildren, they're there, right there, and they are impacting you too. Write down what they are saying to you. Also know that your ancestors lived at a different time than we are now. So the rules that they gave themselves are not applicable, probably, to you now. And your descendants and future children and grandchildren will be living in another time than we are now. They will not understand why we are giving them rules.
Could you repeat that? They will understand
They will
why?
not
They
understand
will not understand
No.
why.
why we are putting these rules on them. Okay? So at this point, what's going on with you? What's this writing down all the rules and thinking about the ancestors, what they've put into your DNA that has become unconscious to you, that you're still obeying? How is that impacting you now? What is going on? any feelings get stirred up or what?
I feel very uplifted right now.
Yes.
I feel the throngs of ancestors are proud of me. I feel encouraged to be even more bold in my life and my life choices. They're like, you're still too timid.
I like it.
Seriously, I'm breaking rules all the time. And they're like, there's more. All of the things that I was told as I was growing up, talk softer and be quiet. They're like, no, forget that. That's not who you are. That's not who you came here to be.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm just getting encouraged.
Did they give you any gifts? Did they give you any rules that were good for you? That you enjoyed, that you feel were a gift to you, that they
In this
instilled
last piece,
with all of it? Did you learn anything useful?
it's useful to just codify it because I think I get a little bit spun out with everything that's happening in the world and all around me and what I'm supposed to pay attention to and what I'm supposed to put my time and attention into. And the sort of directive this morning is just like, that's not your business. It's fine. Be aware of your president. The president is an asshole and he's making the United States look bad on the world stage. And things that were hidden are now being revealed, but that's not your business right now. Your business is to create. This is to create, and creating somehow gives others permission to be who they are in that sense of being creative, and that sharing that with each other and teaching that to our children and just being that creative person, not trying to squeeze into somebody else's little box, is my work.
Mm-hmm.
I can try to think that it's something else or try to make it something else, but it's not. They're really clear. What you're doing is okay, but you can do way more than this. If you think that you've all this life has passed by and you're kind of like, no, you're just warming up, sister. And by the way, we're really proud of you.
Wow.
So yeah, thank you, ELSHA, Mark,
You're
and
welcome.
my co-creators here. My brain is like tingling. Not like tingling. My brain is tingling.
Great. Is there any rule? Is there any rule that they gave you that caused you trouble or that caused you fear?
That they like a directive that they gave me?
Yeah.
Well, just stepping out even further, I think I've really, when you said write the things that are, what was the direction, write the society's rules that sort of hold you back. You can correct me on this. I'm not really, I'm like so in the moment right this second. There's so few things that I think that I do that are really, I'm squeezed by society.
Okay.
And I've long ago gotten used to, people are not necessarily going to like what you say or how you think.
Okay.
Oh, well, you're going to live. So I'm not sort of curtailed by what people think in that way. And I think that every year that goes by, warning, it gets more intense in that way. that I just have to stand in my own truth. It's not the truth, but it's certainly the truth for me. It does modify and change depending on the input, but it's mine, and I would be full of shit if I spoke any less or stood for anything less or tried to fit into somebody's picture or tried to be a Democrat. All of these things, and I can't relate. I can't fit in those things. I'm not trying to be nice. I'm being true. I'm being honest. I'm being where I am in this moment. I never worry about hurting anyone's feelings because that's not my intention. And I think as a sort of a child of the, what do you call it? The 80s, the seminar time, I'm just telling the truth. I'm not responsible for your feelings. And in certain testy situations, I might start out by saying, I have no intention of hurting or harming anyone or disrespecting anyone else's feelings. And so I'm on my personal campaigns are things like, stop saying I'm sorry. What are you sorry about? Everybody's walking around being sorry all the time. And I'm like on that all the time. Why are we sorry? Are you sorry for walking in the room? You're sorry for breathing? You're sorry for, and people go, oh
Okay.
shit.
So you're in the enviable position of being free. Congratulations.
There's more. There's even more. That can be kind of scary, because where I am is out here, and then I feel like this is the direction that I'm giving. Be more of that. I'm like,
yeah. What might happen? What might happen if you were more, even more?
I would just be scared, and the world would change. Nothing bad happens. It's just a fantasy. It's that's part of the programming.
Right. So is there a gift that you might want to give to your ancestors who have allowed you to grow up really free?
I give them great gratitude every day.
If you would give them a present, a specific thing, would you give them?
Not just a concept.
Not a concept, just a thing.
I would give them myself being real every day. Okay. Taking that deep breath and stepping into the question gets asked, and I go, well, here's the way I feel about it. Okay. That is a gift to my ancestors.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Raya.
Thank you.
I'm sure there are other experiences. Anybody?
Well, when you asked if any of these rules that we are governed by involve fear, my only thought was, yeah, all of them. I mean, it's all about fear. What isn't about fear in all these excuses that I have for not getting life done. It's all about fear and timidity, being timid.
Yeah.
And that's
nice, Chris.
I joke saying it's hereditary, but a certain amount of it's also personality and learning to move out of that personality.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting a real visual. I'm going to be doing a lot of stick figures about this.
Great. And there's a good reason for your ancestors giving you these rules that cause you to be timid. And what present would you give them for that?
I'm getting an image of a ship and my grandmother leaving the mountains of Norway and coming to the US. And I'm wanting to give her literally a wooden ship that shows.
That is so beautiful.
That I know how brave she was and what a wimp I am to be afraid of this, that, and the other when she did that.
Oh, that is so beautiful. So in the next month, you may find a little ship to give her and to dedicate to her.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And also, whose fear are you really carrying?
You want me to answer?
Yeah.
I think I carry it directly from my mom, but my mom was a lot braver, but she didn't really show me her fierceness in that.
Okay, great.
So,
What? You know what you get to do? You get to write her a letter,
oh,
and you're going to tell her that it is her fear, and you're going to give her fear back to her so that you get to only carry your own fear.
and I'm assuming my goal is that I push the fear away. Poof.
No.
No,
Fear
no, I don't mean,
useful.
I mean like that I climb
Fear
out
is
of.
useful. No, there's part of the fear. There's probably a big chunk of fear that is hers,
Mhm.
not yours. You're innocent. So that big chunk of fear, you can give back to her. And that goes for everyone else here. If there's something that really troubled you, any of the rules that troubled you, for instance, one of the rules that I was given was that I did not count, that my voice did not count, that my opinion did not count. And that is direct from my mother, who shut off her voice and became literally a doormat for her husband. And so I've written her a letter to thank her for being a doormat, that it taught me something. It taught me that it is important for me to stand up for myself, and that I'm giving her back the rule of not counting, because that's her opinion of herself. She did not count. And I'm very happy to release myself of that insult, really. And I'm sorry that she had that. But I'm giving her back what belongs to her. And you can do the same thing with anything. There, you can even give back diseases. Like if you're allergic, you may be totally innocent about that. You may be just carrying some ancestral directive that you're too sensitive, that you need to be protected, and that you need to be careful. That may be a message that does not serve you, and that it belongs to somebody else in the family. Even if you don't know who it belongs to, you can give it back to them with gratitude and respect, so that you don't have to carry it. One other rule that ancestors often give is to not be happy, or not to have money, that money is dirty. You can give that back. Mark has a story about his dad worrying about money all the time. And so Mark got that same message. And he wrote a letter to his dad and said, thank you very much, but this belongs to you. I don't have to carry that anymore, and I'm free of it. And since then, what, Mark?
Oh,
Yeah, since you wrote the letter?
the moment I finished the letter, I felt free. The moment the letter was done. Now, ELSHA had to push me to write the letter. There was a resistance, but the moment I finished, I was free.
So, anybody else?
Um,
Yeah?
well, I
Margot?
had a couple of ancestors that
Jennifer.
came up. Josephine, my grandmother, she says, speak your secrets, tell how you feel. Your life matters. Do what's in your heart. Just don't embarrass us. Pearl blew it up. She's on the other side, and she came to my actual city right now years ago and become one of the head madams here. And she said something real interesting. She says, you don't want to blow it all up and pretend you don't care about us. I did this and I had so many regrets. Everything was upside down in confusion. I led many astray and separated them from those who loved and depended on them. Choose love and truth. It's daunting, but you must try to be brave and don't give up. You're on the right track. Be true. And my descendants told me, rise up and be strong. We're depending on you. Come to the table, wield your influence. Come into the present, step up to the plate, tell the truth.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love those contrasts though between
Wow.
like Josephine did. She took her secrets to the grave because she was so full of shame about having conceived a child out of wedlock and some kind of incest and crap in her anyway. But she just says, no, I made a mistake. But then Pearl said she did too. She says, I went to the opposite extreme. She goes, and that wasn't the way to do it either. So it was kind of good.
Beautiful. Beautiful, Jennifer. And I like the way you wrote it down. Really made your ancestors and descendants come alive.
Nice.
Beautiful. Margot?
I have a story that I tell that is a gift from an ancestor. It's very short. Is that my brother was the best bullshitter I ever met. So he taught me bullshit. So when somebody's laying bullshit on me, it's like, you're not even as good as my brother used to be. You're not even in the same ballpark. What a gift for my brother, who that probably is one of the few gifts he ever gave me, was to help me identify bullshit for my whole life.
Wow.
So that's just a side story because it's so clear that became very clear to me very young. Yeah, I got a lot of directives about creativity.
Uh-huh.
And I think I'd like to write my mom a note telling her thank you for the good stuff.
Uh-huh.
Because she really was a creative being,
Mm.
and she lived her life creatively, and she let us know that was okay. And my dad always said the world needs dreamers.
Oh,
I'm going to go off and be an artist. Okay. And you get, oh man, the world needs dreamers. And he was
oh.
an engineer. He was like the most technical guy in the world. He didn't have a creative hair on him, but he did have a very creative wife. And he believed that the world needs dreamers. It needs dreamers. Otherwise, it's not going to go anywhere interesting. So,
Oh, how beautiful. Wow.
write him a thank you note too.
Absolutely.
Actually, I already have over the years.
Huge.
Yeah.
Even when he was still alive, I had to let him know.
Wow. Wow.
But the other thing this reminds me of is one of my favorite movies I just saw again. It's called Bridge of Spies. And there's a character in it that he's very low key. and all these things are going on around him, and everybody's freaking out. And people say, well, why aren't you worried? And he said, would it help?
What's the name of that film again?
The best
The
way.
Bridge of Spies.
Bridge of Spies?
Bridge of Spies. And that's really the only thing he says in this whole thing. He's a spy. He knows it. He's in trouble. He's being traded for another spy in Russia. But his whole thing is, would it help? And it just stops everybody every time. Would it
Yeah.
help? And it does. So give up worrying is the message
Yeah.
I like.
Yeah.
It
What
won't help.
era is that from, Margot, please?
Oh, probably 20 years ago. It's Tom Hanks, and Paul Ruddell is
Oh,
the spy who did. He's done a lot of amazing acting in his life.
Thank you.
Would it help?
Would it help? Mm,
that's so good.
Great. I love it.
yeah. Shivani,
Yes.
have you anything to share?
Oh, yes. I just love all of you are so creative and receptive to these ideas, and I'm astounded and I'm touched. But what came to me was my mom put forth the idea that what she did was she held fast to her what she thought was her truth, and she was inflexible in discovering that there might be some other, it might change, her own truth might change, or somebody else's might be okay. So
Mm.
I'll write her a letter. I have a lot to be thankful for that she gave me, and a lot I want to give back to.
Yeah. I just want to say something about you, Shivani, to everybody else here who doesn't know you. Shivani is a hugely talented, beautiful musician and singer. And she had a stroke. How long ago was that? 5 years ago.
There's 5 2/3,
Oh,
almost 6.
yeah. And so this has been a long uphill battle.
Mm.
And I applaud you for your courage and your determination. And you are absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. She has songs out. Her voice is like an angel. Yeah.
I believe it. I can just feel the sweetness of you, Giovanni. I'm going to find your music. I'm just excited about because you have such a sweet spirit, and I can see it's like maybe almost like a balm of some sort.
It is. It is.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I embrace you. And whatever you do is the absolute brilliance.
Thank you.
And you fit right in.
Shivani, there's one more thing I'm just going to say. I'm going to be bold and just come to the table. I feel like though this has been such a long, hard season for you, that I believe this. I'm not going to say I feel it. I know it actually. That you, this next season, if you persevere, which you have, right? That the music that's going to be coming out of you is going to be, it's hard to understand, but I just think it's going to be so much, I believe with all my heart, it's going to be much richer. It's just going to be like, and I think for people who have heard you probably go, how could that be possible? Because it was just perfect already. But there's something that's going to be so rich. I could just like see these jeweled colors. You know, like you had this beautiful thing, and then you had this huge setback, and then on the periphery, here comes all these jeweled colors that are just like, oh my God, this is just so I don't even have a word for it, but it's
Oh.
something so beautiful.
Yeah, and we're all cheering you on, Shivani.
Yes.
We're
Thank
all
you
seeing it.
so much. Thank you.
The more we know you, the more we love you.
Yeah.
Where do we find the music that you have now out on now? Where is your music?
Yeah.
Go to YouTube and type in Roshan and Shivani.
Roshan?
Roshan, R Roshan,
Okay.
and Shivani. Well, you see that on the thing.
So we have a YouTube channel, and it's got a huge variety of styles and videos, and Roshan did the videos. And anyway, they're also different.
Yeah,
Thank you.
all kinds of styles.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad you're here with us, Roshani.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I am too.
So breaking rules. So what story are you telling yourself? What story do you live by? You know, the stories, whether we know it or not, we have an ongoing story that we tell ourselves. I asked Mark once, what's the story that's running through you? And he said, there are two stories. Do you remember, Mark? First one is, it's not fair. It's not fair. And the second story is,
I'm smarter than you think I am.
I'm smarter than you think I am.
I like that.
Mark grew up with trouble in school because he was dyslexic, and he was an undiagnosed dyslexic. And he also was the third of 6 siblings. And so he got kind of, and his older brother, his older sister, and his younger brother and his younger sisters are all like amazing, high achievers. And he was just kind of lost
Mm.
in the middle. So that's it's not fair. It's not fair.
I have a question for Elsha and Mark and anybody else that wants to jump in. Do you think that what you're describing of Mark, or Mark, what's being described, is kind of the journey of the creative? Because I resonated with that so strong. It's like your brother is, yeah, and I love, what are you? It's like, I'm a poet. You know, it's like, yeah, and anyway, I'm just saying.
You wanna answer that, Mark?
When you say the journey of a creative, and what I heard you say, Jennifer, sounds like that's a creative that knows he's a creative. I didn't know.
Oh no, that's, yeah.
I didn't know until I was in my 20s that in fact, I was really shocked and surprised in my 20s when somebody called me an artist. I thought, oh, they're wrong. They are so wrong. I'm not. My mother, when I was little, because of my dyslexia, and getting back to what you were talking about earlier, because of my daydreaming, she called me Dear Dope, because I wasn't bright as the rest of the family. I wasn't as smart. I wasn't as fast. I wasn't as motivated. I was seen as lazy. I was dreaming, but I didn't know that there was any artistic tendencies within me until the age of like 20, 19, 20, when I just, at college, I discovered theater. And the beautiful thing about theater is there are no rules. There's no right or wrong. There's only opinions and debate and discovery. And whatever you think the play is about, hey, that's interesting. Whatever you want to create, hey, that's interesting. So in college, I abandoned all other career pursuits because theater never told me I was stupid or slow or wrong or not talented. Never.
Thank you so
Was
much.
was it like a key person or persons that just like embodied that for you?
No.
Okay.
Yes. The yes, it was with me when I saw it.
You.
When
I like it.
saw what I could do.
Cool.
And when other people saw what I could do, especially as a director, and I realized this gets back to my other statement that ELSHA just said, I'm smarter than you think I am. And that's when that started to, I said, oh, all these crazy thoughts that I have are useful.
Ah.
And other people seem to admire them. And I go, oh, this is good. I think maybe I could get through college doing this.
So he did.
So I did.
I love it.
So Mark has these stories, and each one of us, we have a story. So in the next, how much time? In the next 5 minutes, jot down the story that lives inside you, the story that runs your life, the story that has shaped you. It's based on what has happened before. It's based on the rules, that it's based on what your ancestors have placed into your DNA. But just go ahead and junk write your story in 5 minutes. Okay. Coming to an end. Big yawn. Take a deep breath. So you have your story. Now, for your homework, from now on, you're going to get homework. For your homework, you're going to write 4 different versions of your story. 4 different versions of your story. Keep the same events. Keep the same events, but change your response. 4 different versions. Because the story that we're telling ourselves is an old story and it has gotten stuck. Like, I have this story, I'm getting so bored with it. I'm a war child. I didn't speak during the war and people thought I was mute. That's my story. I'm gonna have to make 4 different, completely different stories about myself. So there was a war. Yes, there was a war. And you can also break the lock that the story has on you by doing really crazy things. Like, for instance, if you have a rule that something bad is going to happen because I forgot something. I forgot to pay. I forgot to look something up. So something bad is going to happen. I'm a catastrophic thinker. I always think of what the worst is that can happen. So now I'm saying to myself, something may happen to forget. So instead of something bad is going to happen because I forgot to pay, something may happen to forget. So it becomes silly. It becomes a rule that doesn't make any sense, and I can let it go. I have another rule that says, be nice, don't upset people. And I'm making it to people nice, set up, don't. You just put the words in a different order. What you're doing actually is you're breaking the connections, the neural pathways in your brain. You're breaking them up. And at first, it will shock the brain and it might give you discomfort. But once you start putting the words in making a different sentence, the brain grabs on it and starts creating new neural pathways. So if you start writing your story in a whole different way, you give a different version, or you make applesauce of the lines. If you jumble them all up, so that the story has to loosen its grip on you, and your brain will help you create new stories, new neural pathways. And that's the way to break up trauma stories, especially. Like if you've had a very traumatic event, like if you had a stroke, and I don't know what stories you tell yourself, Shivani, about your stroke. But if you write it down and you jumble up the lines and you write a different story about, so you get a stroke, but your responses are different. Who knows what your brain is going to do? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
So that's your homework for session 3. Yes, Jennifer.
How important, I've been doing all this in longhand because you said take out a pencil and paper or whatever. It
Yeah.
seems like, but when we write these stories, is it important to do that? Because I kind of want to put it on my computer, but
You can do both. You can do both.
is
Or
it
either you can do.
is the longhand important to do? I mean,
Some people are more affected by writing it out. Mark, for instance, writes everything longhand, and I put everything on the computer.
legal pads? Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. So it's all whatever is comfortable for you. Another way of breaking up these rules is, oh, I had it, but now I forgot. Another way is breaking up. Breaking up is so hard to do. You can sing it. You can sing your story. There you go.
You automatically did it.
And I'd like for you to come up with more ways to break up your rules, to create new pathways in your brain, to be really creative, and to junk write your stories. How's that?
Is junk write kind of like blurting?
It can be anything. Junk write.
I'm trying to
You can-
understand the junk writing thing. I'm still not quite understanding what you mean by it.
Oh, that's great.
But we can talk later. I mean, I know we're pressed time, so that's okay. Sorry.
No, you know what? I'm calling it junk writing, which is open for interpretation. What I have done is I have purposefully made mistakes. In fact, in my classes, writing classes, I tell people to write their story and deliberately make mistakes that you have to cross out or put in another word to absolutely make a mess of this piece of paper. Even if you write on the computer, scratch it through. You know, what's that called? The stripe through the word.
Strike out.
Yeah. Make it all has to be conscious and deliberate, though. That's the point. So consciously use bad grammar, misspell, don't punctuate or over punctuate. Scratch, write a word, scratch it through, write another word, scratch that through, write another word, scratch that through, then go to the bottom of the page and just interrupt any kind of pattern. Yes, Chris.
It occurs to me that we might be breaking the rule and writing upside down on other things like that.
That's another thing. Oh, yeah. Right. I will give that as homework to you. So you write your name. Then to the left of it, you write it backwards. Then below it, you write it upside down. And then next to the left of it, you write it upside down and backwards. If you make that a practice, your brain is going to be so genius. Honestly, I heard a story about someone who was taking a test, and she had been training herself to read upside down and mirror. And so the test giver was having this page with the questions, and he didn't realize that she could read exactly what the questions were and the answers. So she aced it. But all because she could read everything upside down. So yes, I encourage that. In fact, I had that as one of my rule breakers. So you're going to give yourself another identity by changing your story. You're giving yourself more freedom by breaking the rules that you have lived by. And who knows what's going to come out of you. So here's another thing I would like for you to, I tell you what, wait until I send you the homework, because there will be some drawing prompts, and I would like for you to draw what I'm asking you to draw, and then email your drawings to me by a certain time, and I will put it in a film with music. Actually, if you tell me what kind of music you want with it, if you give me the soundtrack of the music that you want with your drawings, I can put those in the film. Yeah.
How about Shivani's?
Oh, Shivani.
I'll send in some ready-made music.
Yes.
Or maybe I'll create some music.
Yes.
Okay.
And next month we are going to make soundscapes. We're going to make soundscapes.
Ah.
Yes. With your iPhone, with your phone, whatever phone you have, you're going to get to. So that's for homework. Now I'm going to ask something else completely different. There are people that cannot come to the 9 o'clock sessions.
Huh.
And so I'm curious about what would happen if we make it 10 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm in.
Okay. Everybody okay?
Okay.
Okay.
It's gonna be okay.
What would happen if we make it 11 o'clock?
I'm in.
Anybody against 11 o'clock?
So that's like 2 hours later, right?
Yeah,
I'm confused. I'm thinking another time. 2 hours later, so that would be 1 o'clock. Seems fine for now. I don't see any problem really.
okay. Okay, so I'm going to put that to the whole group and find out how everybody thinks about that.
I will speak for Suzanne. I think she might love it because it sounds like this is a crazy time for her a little bit.
Yeah, and she says she just got a dog. That's not housebroken. Ah, there's so many people could not come today. But you came, and I want to tell you something. I really needed you today after yesterday.
Mm.
After yesterday, I realized that I need community with you. I need it, and I need to do art and writing and music with you and eating. I need it. And I hope you need us too. You need us all. And it's the only way to get through these times is by getting together and making art, junk art, bad art, whatever. Okay. Anybody else have anything to ask, say?
Thank you, Elsha.
Yes.
Oh,
Thank you for doing this for us.
Yeah.
my
Thank you.
pleasure.
Are you
Really.
saying you love us? I know the
We
answer.
all love you, Chris.
I know the answer. It's more love.
Oh.
I adore you guys, all of you. I adore being with you. And thank you for letting me bring out all my games and my funky,
Thank you.
It's
Thank you.
so much fun. So
Well, I
Still-
wanted to say one small thing
Yes.
about something that Jennifer said earlier that had to do with being misidentified earlier in our lives and then coming into, what Mark described as I was this, and then I discovered myself to be that. You know what I'm talking about, Jennifer? I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like what you were describing is the vindication.
yeah,
There's all this time when we're kind of like, I don't, and then suddenly, or not over time, it unfolds that we have these gifts and talents that are not appreciated up until a certain point or in a certain realm. And it just felt like that was a missing piece, that the artistic soul, the creative soul, that's what it was, becomes vindicated by being recognized or even just being able to act as a creative in this world and being satisfied within rather than being something coming from without.
Yeah. Yeah. Like being able to just go, you know what? I have an inner world and it is something that needs to come onto the outside. It doesn't need to just stay in there like it's not of any use to anybody.
And
It's
be
useful to
suppressed
me.
by ideas. It doesn't need any of that. It just needs to bloom and blossom and flourish and let it.
I like it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
may we all bloom and blossom.
yes.
Bye.
Carry on blooming. Mwah.
Bye.
Happy
Thank
spring.
you.
Happy spring until we meet again.
Aloha.
Hello.
Until you get
Thank
your
you, everyone.
homework.
Mahalo.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.